Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Xing Gan, Financial Market Strategist Consultant at Exness, and this is your market outlook for the 10th of October 2024. So for today, we will be covering on three charts, USTEC, dollar yen, as well as Bitcoin. We'll be highlighting key levels across the different time frames as well as potential scenarios to watch. Right, so with that, let's take a look at our Exness web terminal. I'm currently on the daily time frame, and this is USTEC. So on the daily time frame, we can see that following the pullback to the downside, we are seeing prices forming higher swing points with a break above the last high. So in this case, we can see that just taking a look at the most recent price action, we saw that price retraced slightly below the demand zone. Right, so this is the resistance area that we had. We can see that price pushed to the upside, retraced slightly before a break, and following that, this serves as a potential demand, and price did pull back into this region before pushing higher. So this is the demand zone that we have. We can see that price consolidated around this zone before a rebound. And on the daily time frame, this also aligns with the EMA 21 dynamic support. Right, if we move to the lower time frames on the 4 hours, we can see that in line with this region, we are also seeing the formation of an ascending channel. Right, so the ascending channel would be this region here, where price tested the lower bound and upper bound of the channel twice. You can see over here, right, price testing this region once, and the second time here, where it also closed above both EMA, signaling potential for further gains, right? And in line with this, we are also seeing a test of the upper bound twice here. So what's interesting to watch with this is that prices are currently testing the 20,300 region, right? This is also in line with the latest swing high that we saw. You can see that this is in line with the latest swing high that we saw in September, right? So prices are currently hovering around that level. So if it does sustain its bullish momentum above this, right, the next potential zone that price could rise to would be at the 20,500 level. Why the 20,500 level? It's a level for us to watch. It's because if we take a look at the most recent price movement, and this is the exact pattern that was being formed, you can see that if we take the turning points of this exact pattern, and we project a Fibonacci extension, this will align with the 161.8 Fibonacci extension. Right, so if I take point 1, point 2, and point 3 here, you can see that the 161.8 extension, this region, right, let me just take this. Right, so the 161.8 Fibonacci extension would align with the 20,000, or rather it just coincides with the 20,500 region. So this area here. And so it's more of a zone rather than a specific level, right? So I think that if price does break above this zone, we could see potential for further gains with 20,500 as the next resistance. Right, conversely, if we do see a retreat before below 20,300, we could see potential for a deeper pullback, right, to the area of consolidation that we're seeing over here before a break to the upside. You can see that this was also a resistance level that price tested multiple times before it broke and retested again as a support. And it also resides near the ascending channel's lower bound, this region over here, as well as the EMA 78 dynamic support. So if we do see a retreat below the 20,300 level, with the lower time frame showing potential for a deeper retracement, then the 20,050 zone, this region here, could serve as a potential support. So this area over here. And beyond that, right, if price breaks out of this range, we could see potential for a retest and a deeper pullback to test this demand region over here. There was also a resistance level that failed previously, and we saw a retest of this before a rebound to the upside. So this demand area stands at around the 19,650 zone. So this region that we had, right, and the one that we highlighted on the daily. So this area, right, so this is my view on USTEC. Right, now let's take a look at another setup that we have on dollar yen. Right, so let's take a look at dollar yen on the higher time frames. So you can see on dollar yen, right, I'm currently on a 4 hours time frame, but before that, let's go on to the daily first, right? So on dollar yen, we saw a rebound above the December, January 2024, right? December 2023, January 2024 low set about 140.80 region. And following that, price broke above the last high, right? Signaling or indicating that it has potential for further gains, this region over here. And what's interesting to note with this move to the upside is that price closed above both EMAs. And at the same time, it's also pushing into this high, which is at about the 149.20 region. So that's on the daily time frame. Right, if we move down to the 4 hours, over here, right, we can see that price formed an ascending channel, this region over here, and following that rebound above the EMA 21 dynamic support as well as the ascending channel's lower bound, we're seeing a test of this 149.20 resistance. This resistance area also aligns with this high that was being formed back in August, right, the 15th of August 2024, we're seeing a retest of this region, right, and muted movement in prices. So if price breaks and close above this zone, right, a clear decisive break above this could prompt potential for further gains, right, and it could rise potentially to the next resistance at 150.50 region. It's also worth noting that this 150.50 region also aligns with the 127.2 extension, right, and this extension is obtained from the zigzag pattern here. This is the zigzag pattern, right? So if price continues to climb higher, the 150.50 region could be the next potential resistance to watch. But conversely, if we do see a reversal below the 149.20 region, right, and also a breakout of the ascending channel, we could see potential for a deeper retracement and a retest of the 147 region. Now the 147 region is obtained from this area, right? We can see that it was a resistance level that price tested twice, and also that consolidation before we saw a decisive break to the upside. And in line with that, right, we're seeing also fair value gaps and also the formation of a doji, signaling uncertainty before a break to the upside. So this could serve as a potential demand zone, right? That if we see a retreat to below the 149.20 and a break below the ascending channel, price could retest this region at the 147 support. Okay, and of course beyond that, if price breaks below the 147 support, right, the next potential support to watch could be the 145.50 region. So the next chart that I would like to take a look at would be on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, it's sitting on a key level at the moment. Let's take a look at Bitcoin on the higher time frames. So if we take a look at the Bitcoin on the daily time frame, you can see that price formed a descending channel, this region here. So you can see that price formed a descending channel over here, right? This is the area we have the formation of lower lows and lower highs, and also this descending channel that we're seeing at the moment. Let me just highlight this descending channel. This area here, right? We're also seeing that reversal after price swept this high, right? So the movement to the upside, this high over here, we can see that price swept slightly to the upside. It consolidated before a break, and what happened after is that price then broke the last low that we had, right? We tested again as a resistance, right, before pairing recent gains. So it's also worth noting that when price reversed off this, right, it did tap into this region over here on the daily. So this is a gap, right, a fair value gap, where we can see that the first candle, right, we have 3 candles, and the first candle and the third candle's wicks do not intersect one another. So this region here, right? So price pushed into this zone, right, before we saw further move to the downside. So currently, right, prices are testing this region, this area of consolidation, or this zone over here, right? But you can see that the rebound, it's relatively muted, right? And also price push into this supply zone before we see that push or move down again to retest this zone. So this is at about the 60,000 psychological level, right? So if price breaks beyond this, right, if we see a break and close to the downside, I think that we could see potential for a deeper retracement, right, or further decline with the next support zone at this region, right? So this is an area where we saw price tested this zone multiple times, and if we put these levels in the line chart, you can see this as well, right? This was a support level that price tested twice. So if we do see a retest of this zone, right, price could push into this region again, this area here, right, following a breakout of the 60,000 region. And so conversely, if we do see a rebound and price holds above this with a break to the upside and a break above this range, which is at about the 64,000 to 65,000 region, this supply zone, right, we could see potential for further gains targeting the next high, which would be at around this region that is at about the 68,000 area. We can see that this was a high that was formed, right, which coincides with the upper bound of the ascending channel before price pushed lower. And so these are the two scenarios that we have, right? It's also worth noting that we're seeing very lackluster movement here with the consolidation of the EMAs and price holding below both EMAs, right? So if price breaks below the 60,000, we could see potential for further decline, and 54,000, this range, right, about the 55,000, 54,000 range as the next potential support. Whereas if price rebounds above the 60,000 range and breaks above the resistance region, right, we could see potential for further gains with a retest of the next high at around the 68,000 region. Right, and that's it for today's market analysis. Thank you for joining me. I'm Xing Gan, Financial Market Strategist Consultant at Exness.